handsome men, they don't necessarily end up with the most beautiful women. And I think it's two reasons. Firstly, where the normal men would have to go pursue women, handsome men get into this zone of life where women come to them, which is a very like trippy kind of way of experiencing it. But women come to them, so they are used to it being that way around. So when a woman's not approaching them, they assume she's not interested. They don't realize the natural pursuit is he should be chasing or he should be initiating. Handsome men, because they don't require as much female validation because they get it so much, they look more for a woman that treats them well rather than just a woman that looks fantastic. They focus on the treatment that they receive from a woman far more than they would by the status symbol of her being super attractive, because they've already got that status symbol.
What up, YouTube? It's your boy Marv Over Matter back with another video, and today what I'm going to talk about is why handsome men end up with average women, and why handsome men end up with average women. So like y'all saw in the video up top, she was absolutely right about both of the points that she made. Now, I don't always agree with that woman. I've seen her before. I'm sure y'all seen her before. She gives dating advice. Sometimes she's on point like today, but then there's other times where it's a little bit like, I don't really agree. But this one was absolutely true. So the first point she made was that a lot of times handsome men will just believe that women are supposed to pursue them, right? They'll believe that that's just how it goes. That's the natural flow of things because that's been their experience, right? Like for me personally, I started out like by nature, I'm a shot shooter. Like I'm pulling up on the double team. I'm pulling up on the triple team. I'm crossing over. If I lose the ball, we going out of bounds. I'm not looking for the pass. I'm shooting the shot, right? I was always shooting. This was in gym, this is at lunch, this is recess, this is during class, this is during presentations. I don't care where I was at, elementary, middle school, I was pulling up and I was shooting. And everybody knew I was shooting. And that's probably part of my problem, I was too loud. But I was shooting. Now, high school, I got knocked off my square. I was like, oh, I'm not feeling good anymore, so I'm not gonna shoot. I'm done shooting, I'm retired, I'm a retired shooter. So then, I get to 10th grade. I told the story before. I changed my style, changed my presentation. I got my swag up. And all of a sudden, girls started complimenting me. Girls started coming up to me. Girls started like approaching me, pursuing me, right? It flipped. And then in my head, what I thought was, oh, okay, that makes sense. I was doing it wrong the whole time. I was supposed to just let them pursue me, right? And that's when it built in my mind. That's why I have the style that I kind of have now, where I'm like, let the woman kind of show you, let her pursue, let her kind of, give you the signs first before you just make a move. Because in my experience, when I tried that, it didn't work. And then when my presentation was right and the girls liked me, they just told me. So I'm like, oh yeah, if girls like you, they'll just tell you. And it wasn't until later when I was in college, like my third year in college, I'm like 21, almost about to graduate. My girl at the time was like, it was summer break or whatever, and we were talking about, we did a fashion show during school, and she was just like, yeah, she's like, all the girls were feeling you. I'm like, what do you mean all the girls were feeling me? There was some girls that I knew because they made it obvious, like what they would be like touchy, or they would just say it, or, compliment me, or whatever. So there was some girls I knew, but I'm like, what do you mean all the girls? And then before she's talking, I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's gonna mention some girls I just didn't really interact with at all. Like I could see, okay, maybe that. But then she started naming off girls that I knew and I talked to and I was cool with. I had their Instagram, I had their numbers. And she's like, yeah, they was feeling you like heavy. Like they would be talking about you when you wasn't there. I'm like, I had no idea. Like there was no signs of it. You know what I mean? Like we interacted. I thought like, okay, maybe they won't tell you immediately, but once you interact, like after a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're gonna like be like, you know what, I like you. They're gonna crack at some point. Or they'll show some type of sign, but that was when I realized, oh, girls would just not show you any type of signs, even if they like you. But before that, if I had not had that experience, I would have went into my 20s, like just, kept going thinking like, oh, girls don't like you unless they tell you. And that's not true, because there's a whole bunch of girls that are feeling you that you have no idea about. You just have no idea. Even how I met that girl, I had met her during the fashion show. I went up, I introduced myself, talked to her the first day, whatever. Somebody told me she had a man. I was like, okay, all right, whatever. I didn't really investigate. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not competing for a girl. So I let her go. I was messing with some other girl. And then my boy was feeling her. He was like, nah, she don't have, I told this story before. She don't have a boyfriend, whatever. Like me and her are together or are feeling each other, right? This is what he's telling me. I'm taking him at his value, at his face value. I'm like, oh, okay, word, good stuff, bro. You go do your thing. We have the after party. He tries to get her drunk. At the end of the night, she comes up to me like, oh, you're so attractive. Boom, boom, boom. We start talking. And she tells me, yeah, as soon as I saw you, like I was feeling you, like this whole time I would be like sending your pictures to my sisters and cousins. Even her, like she had not been showing me signs, and she ended up being my girl. So it's like women will not show you signs. You'll have no idea. Or you might just be really bad at reading signs. Like it could be either way. But it's like they won't make it clear. They won't make it crystal clear to you all the time. And it's like a lot of handsome guys don't know that. Because like she said in the video, it happens enough times where you're like, okay, this is reasonable. Like, all right, 20 girls this year pulled up on me. That's reasonable. Like, you know what I mean? Like you're still getting more action than guys who are going out and trying without even really trying. You know what I mean? So you don't know that, oh, I could have even more. Like there's even more girls that like me. You don't know that because it seems reasonable. It's like, yeah, okay, I have my 20 girls. You got your 3. You know what I'm saying? You had 3 girls you was talking to. I was talking to 20 girls. Like that's enough for me to feel like, yeah, that's my limit. That's what I could do. But it's like there's girls on top of that you have no idea about. But handsome guys a lot of times don't know that. So like she said, they don't pursue. And beautiful women are not going to do that as often. Like very, very few. Like if they're really beautiful, maybe if they're really young, they might, but a beautiful 23, 24-year-old is not doing that. She's not going to go out of her way to like make it clear to you. If you come up, she's going to make it easy for you, right? If she's feeling you, she's going to be clear. Not easy. Let me not say easy. She's going to be clear, right? She's going to make it clear that, okay, yeah, I'm feeling you as well. She's still going to require you to do more, but she's going to be like clear about it. You know what I mean? But she's not going to be the one to initiate. There's too many guys that are into her. There's too many guys that are also handsome that are into her, that are pursuing her, for her to ever be like, let me go out of my way and pursue. Now, if y'all just around each other, y'all work together, y'all interact consistently for some reason, then she might tell you first that she's feeling you, right? That might happen. But she's not gonna just walk up to you and be like, hey, like I'm really liking you. I'm really this, I'm really that. For most guys, even if you're handsome, you gotta have more than just being handsome for that to happen. So most of the time you're gonna get approached by an average woman, and what's gonna happen is also you're gonna think this because you believe that women that like you approach you, and most of the time you get approached by average women, you're gonna think that's your level. And that's where a lot of handsome guys underestimate and aim too low, right, when it comes to women. And so they believe that's their level, so then they end up with an average girl. Even if they go out and pursue a girl, because this is how it used to happen. This is how it happened to me. Because mostly, like, just cute girls would kind of make it clear. Cute girls, average girls, like around there, like, you know, 6s, 6.5s, whatever, would be the ones that would be like bold about it. That would be like probably the best looking girls that would be like bold about it. Occasionally it would be like a 7.5, you know what I mean? Occasionally it would be something. That one time I worked with a girl and it was like she was an 8.5, right? Occasionally it was like that, but for the most part, it was either like 5 to 6.5. So I'm thinking this is the pool I'm in, right? This is the girls that like me, right? So when I went out to start finally like approaching myself, after I got out of like a long relationship, I would go for those type of girls. But the thing is, with those type of girls, if they're not confident enough to come up and talk to you, then when you go up and talk to them, they're probably not gonna be the confident type. So then they're gonna be just scared if they think that, you know, you're really attractive. They're gonna play this is when the games start coming in out of the fear. Like I said in my video before, average girls are playing games out of fear. You know, cute girls are playing games out of fear. Like, you get up to like 7.5, you know what I'm saying? 7.5. Then those girls are playing games because it's their ego. But like you around 6.5, those girls are playing games out of fear, right? They're not being clear. They're like, oh, does he really like me? Oh, you know what I mean? It's out of fear. And if you go lower than that, it's definitely out of fear. So it's like, then you end up getting rejected by 6s and 6.5s. Then you're like, damn, am I even at this level, right? And it just reinforces like girls will tell you if they like you. Because if I can't just pull up and get her easy, then girls don't like me. But it's really that they're just playing games out of fear. So then you end up getting trapped in this like 6.5 at best range, because those are going to be the girls that are going to probably be the best looking girls that will approach you consistently. Now, the second point that she made also was very true, right? The experience that you're going to have with those girls, because they're willing to come up and come to you, it means they value your looks highly, because they don't know anything. They don't know you in any other capacity besides just how you look. So they value that a lot. And because of that, there's not really much else you have to put into the relationship in order for them to give you a lot. So you're gonna have, sex whenever you want. She's gonna be cooking for you. She's gonna be very receptive, very feminine, very, soft with you, very happy to see you, loyal to you, because she values your looks. A beautiful woman is not gonna value your looks like that. I said she'll make it clear, but not easy, right? So you're handsome, she's feeling you, she's open to it, cool, but she is gonna require you to do more. She's gonna require you to put in effort. You're competing against other handsome guys, right? You're a lion, you're competing against other lions. With the average girl, she's trying to get a lion, but the guys that are really competing for her are antelope, right? So if she gets a lion, she's gonna hang on and be like, ignore all the antelope that's really trying to get at her. So it's like, because she's requiring more a lot of times, because you've already experienced getting a lot for very little input, like very little investment, but you get a lot out of it. It kind of like, there's no motivation for you to be like, let me put so much effort into this beautiful girl, because it's like, I'm already considered handsome. I'm already considered attractive. So I don't really gain anything by being with this girl who's attractive, right? It's just kind of expected. Like, okay, yeah, y'all a good looking couple. But if an average guy gets this girl, it's like, bro, props, bro. Props, how you did that. Props, like good. You know what I mean? Like, but if you look like you should be with that girl, you don't get any extra points. You don't get any extra props for that. So there's no value in that. Now you're just working hard for a girl, when it's like, I could have one of her and put a lot of effort in, or have 3 of these girls and not really put any effort in. Or have one of these girls, but just kind of like, I don't have to do much. I'm just going to get the best. I'm going to get, like I said, all the things I listed off earlier. Like, you're going to get that, like, happily. She's going to happily give that to you, but you don't have to do a lot. Whereas this girl, you're going to have to work to get the things that you want, or like show out, or, or actually be at a certain level. Beyond just being handsome, you'll have to have more. You'll have to have the money, the lifestyle, because the guys who look just as good as you, but with money and lifestyle, are approaching her, or with her. Like, I'll tell y'all a story. There was a girl who lived in my neighborhood, and she would like walk her dog around all the time. And I saw her, I think, on Instagram. I used to follow her on Instagram, but then I had unfollowed her like a while ago. But then I seen her in my neighborhood, and I'm like, okay, cool, that's that girl. And then one day she like smiled at me, so I was like, oh, let me try to talk. So I tried to talk to her. It was weak, and she was just like, no, I have a boyfriend. And I was like, man, I know that I've seen this girl before. I'm like, let me see if she actually has a boyfriend. In the moment, I was like, okay, yeah, cool, whatever. But I was like, man, let me see if she just curving me, or she actually has a boyfriend. So I was like, I know I've seen her on Instagram before. I'm sure I can find her. I found her on Instagram. I looked up, I Googled, because I'm like, okay, she got quite a few followers, like almost 1 million followers. I'm like, she'll probably be on Google. So I Googled like whatever her name was, boyfriend. I didn't even see if she had a boyfriend, because the picture that popped up was like her with Antonio Brown and her with Deshaun Jackson. She had been in relationships with Antonio Brown and Deshaun Jackson. So I'm like, I'm a handsome guy, I'm in shape, but I do not have hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't live this crazy lavish lifestyle. And that is what you're competing against when you're dealing with beautiful women. You're competing against guys who are doing that, right? And she was in relationships with these guys, not just, they hit it, and she just thinks she's in that lifestyle, but like these guys were actually committed to her, or I don't know about committed, but in relationships publicly with her. So that's the caliber that she's on. So it's like, as a handsome guy, you have to have that on top of just being handsome, because they're the same height as me. They're just as built, if not more built than me, right? So on a physical level, we're equals, but then they have the crazy lifestyle, the crazy everything else, right? And that's what you would have to offer or bring to the table, you know, if you're dealing with beautiful women in certain locations. In certain locations, it's not that serious, right? If you're in a place where there's down to earth beautiful girls, right? Some cities, some towns, whatever, have like beautiful girls that would just work at, you know, McDonald's, or beautiful girls that work at the you know, whatever store, Walmart, whatever it is. Like, they have very attractive girls that work there. There's some places like that. But as social media is growing, that's becoming less and less. That was more of a thing back when I was like younger. When I was like a teenager, you would see actually beautiful girls like out working regular jobs, especially in my city. But, you know, now I'm in LA, so it's a little bit different. They all just get scouted to be models, but still, I have to imagine back in the day, there was more like beautiful girls just like out and about in regular, you know, environments. But now it's becoming very separate with social media. But yeah, so you have to have all that to deal with these beautiful women, when it's like, it's a lot easier to just be good looking and get the most out of average women, or cute women, or like cute women, like 6.5, you know what I mean? That's cute. A 6.5, that's cute. So it's like, you can get everything out of her for very little, or you can get, you know, maybe everything out of a beautiful woman, or maybe very little out of a beautiful woman with a lot of effort. You know, with having a whole bunch of stuff and being at a certain caliber. So most guys are not going to be millionaires. Most guys are not making it to the NFL, to the NBA, right? So it's not going to be as easy for them. They're going to be competing against those guys. So it's like, they're going to lean into just dealing with the cute girls, pretty girls. If they can get an 8, they'll probably hang on to her. You know what I mean? If they can get an 8, 8.5, they'll probably just be like, you know, I got my 8, 8.5. I'm good. I'm going to just chill. But you start getting upwards of 9 and 9.5, it's like, nah. There's no reason to put that effort in, because you don't really get more out of it. It's just like, other people are like, oh, his girl looks better, right? Unless you're very, very picky and you're like, no, I need that beauty. Which, if you're getting the validation of a bunch of different women, even if they're average, you're not gonna really care that much, right? You already know you look good because most women are telling you that. So you don't need to date this girl to prove that you look good to yourself. You already know what it is. Because even the top of the line guys, they're not really getting validation from beautiful women. They're getting validation from average women. You know what I mean? Those are the women that are gonna give the validation like that. So yeah, those are the reasons that handsome men will oftentimes end up with average women. They either believe that that's all they can get, because they believe that whatever woman pursues them is the woman that likes them, and the women who don't pursue them are the women who just don't like them. And oftentimes it's going to be the average women that pursue. And the other reason being that the effort that it's going to take to be with this beautiful woman is oftentimes not worth it, because you're going to get way more from a girl who's cute, but, you know, doesn't require that much because she values you being handsome, right? So that's the reason, fellas. That's the video for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Drop some more topics in the comment section. I got my coaching calls in the description box, Instagram in the description box, and y'all know what it is. It's mind over matter, Marvel over matter. Let's get it.